All right, so this is part 2 of the Empowered Wife promotion. And so I wanted to start with, well, first of all, yes, there's a podcast. And so every week, and the author's name is Laura Doyle, she'll have someone on her show who's been using the 6 intimacy skills. Usually the relationship was in shambles, they were divorced even, infidelity, you name it. She's got old guests, young guests, everything in between. So every week there's a new person who's lived it out and it's worked. And now they have the relationship they have always wanted. So I think between the book and the podcast, that's depending on what you have time for and how you learn, I'd recommend both and then emphasize one or the other. Now, listening to the podcast, you get some ideas and some of the lessons. So reading the book is understanding all of the intimacy skills more in depth. But I'd say, both are great. All right, so at the beginning of the book, she talks about some common misunderstandings or some bad advice. And that's one of the fun things in her podcast. She always has the worst advice of the week, because in our culture, which is so messed up, there's just a lot of bad advice on marriage. And so if you're listening to that stuff, it's going to, you're going to end up with the exact thing you don't want. All right, so these things are all common advice, which she would say is not true. Marriage is hard work. False. Husbands and wives have to give and take equally for a marriage to succeed. False. Men tend to be less mature than women, which is one reason women end up taking on more housework and child-rearing responsibilities. False. Wives who are always saying what they want are more likely to get divorced. False. A happy wife is often willing to have relations with her husband even if she's not in the mood. Actually, that's a true one. 7, when you've been married for a while, you can pretty much predict what your partner is going to say in a given situation. False. A husband wants his wife to be happy and will go to great lengths to make sure she is. That's actually true. If something your husband is doing is bothering you, it's best to be honest and say so directly. She would say that's false. Happy wives tell their husbands when they want more attention or affection. Also false. So you get the idea. That's the first 10. I think I skipped one. She has 20 on there. And what are the basic skills? So she has the 6 basic skills. I already told you the first one, which is self-care is number 1. 2, restore respect. And the most important thing for a man is being respected. And so I think she talks about it as the breath, the air we breathe, sorry. And there's so many things that our society teaches about disrespect toward men that really do much to destroy the relationship. 3, stop trying to control the man. And I think one funny way of saying that is, when you try to control the man, you're essentially acting like his mother. And no one wants to be married to their mother. And I can attest to that. 4, be better at receiving. Receive, open up, don't reject the gifts. 5, reveal your heart with vulnerability. And I think another way she says it, the more pithy way, is express your desires in a way that inspires. 6, refocus your view with gratitude. So that's it. It's not complicated. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But I think, my wife's been working on it since 2019, so 4 years. And she has one of her best friends, they're partners in crime, and they talk regularly. She's in a different Midwestern state. And actually her husband doesn't even know that his wife is reading the book. So, and they talk about, how to do it, and when they get stuck or they made a mistake, kind of talk it through, like, what did I do wrong here? And they coach each other. And so there's 6 simple intimacy skills, but to do it well and consistently, usually it's a different way of approaching things. And so it takes time and it takes some effort, but, and as that first advice, which is marriage is hard work, people the gals who are doing it are finding, no, life is so much easier. And And what I've always wanted, I'm actually finally getting. The relationship I've always wanted, it's coming to exist. And all the things I was trying to make him do, now he's doing on his own, and he's doing way more than I thought he'd ever would do. And he loves me more. And actually that's her subtitle. 6 Surprising Secrets for Attracting Your Husband's Time, Attention, and Affection. So, the long and the short of it, it's a potentially life-changing book. And I'm very sad to be leaving you all. But I think the most helpful thing I could do is tell you about this book. And again, it's for gals. I mean, guys can read it, but it's really for the gals. And it really is empowering and life-changing. And there's nothing more important we can give to our kids than a vibrant, loving, alive relationship, as husband and wife. There's no better foundation for the kids and for oneself and for one's spouse. So I can't recommend it highly enough. Also, interestingly, it's not written from a Christian perspective. It seems like she probably is a Christian, but she doesn't bring that into things. Some of her guests will, but so it can really be given to anybody. And it's and also I should say, why did she write it? So her parents got divorced, and she found that very, very painful. And in her own life, she was heading straight to divorce herself, and she was married to a loser. And she didn't want to get divorced, and started researching how she could make things different. And so she put all I don't remember exactly how she figured it all out, but she found out these 6 intimacy skills, realized that she was sabotaging everything she was trying to attain, started following these principles, and then voila, had the relationship she always wanted. And it was with the loser she had originally. And she got the best out of him by how she behaved. And now she has the man of her dreams and the relationship she always wanted. And it wasn't about fixing him. It was really, taking a different approach. And, and human nature is such that we work a certain way. And so when you follow human nature and you follow essentially the laws of human nature, things work, and it's fruitful and it's joyful. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you read the book. And again, I'm serious, I will buy you the book. So if you want it, let the office know, and I'll put an order in here in a week or 2. All right, or maybe sooner. God bless you.